Hi, I'm Michael Hammersley, a materials engineer in the avionics department. We're very excited. I'm sure you can hear it. To my right, we have a live view of Falcon Heavy on the pad at Kennedy Space Center.
And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
Falcon Heavy is essentially 3 Falcon 9 rockets all strapped together.
I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things.
Which means it can carry much larger payloads not only to Earth orbit, but to the Moon and Mars as well.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads.
So like Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy is a 2-stage launch vehicle. The big difference is that the first stage in Falcon Heavy is comprised of 3 cores, while Falcon 9 has only 1.
And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. And another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings.
Now, each one of these 3 cores has 9 M1D engines, making for a total of 27 engines overall. Altogether, those engines produce 5 million pounds of thrust, which is equal to 18 747s at takeoff. In fact, the engines are producing so much power that we don't run them at full thrust all at once. So during ascent, Falcon Heavy will throttle its thrust up and down in both the side and the center cores in order to balance the aerodynamic and structural loads on the vehicle. So about halfway through the first stage's burn, the 2 side boosters will separate and come back to Earth for a simultaneous landing at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station.
And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand.
More about that a bit later.
Wait.
At that point, the mission proceeds very much like a standard Falcon 9 flight. The center core will keep on firing for another minute to burn all of its fuel.
Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high. But one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last.
And it will perform a standard stage separation from the second stage on top.
Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven.
This second stage, with the fairing right at the very top there, the second stage is exactly the same as any other Falcon 9 flight, except we've loaded a bit more helium onto it this time. Now, that second stage will be sending our payload way out into a Mars-crossing orbit, which we'll also get into a bit later. But all in all, with a successful launch, Falcon Heavy is going to be the largest and most powerful operational rocket in the world. We're very excited to be launching it today. Let's check in on exactly how it's doing.